What on earth is going on with Ethereum? The price just keeps going down. The blockchain feels like a ghost town. Nobody's using it. Is it dead? Will it ever recover? Will something else take its place? Well, these are all types of things that I'm seeing right now about Ethereum, the #2 cryptocurrency by market cap. And in this video, I'm going to set the record straight and tell you exactly what's going on with Ethereum right now and what is likely to happen to it in the near future. I'm going to talk about all this as a blockchain developer myself who works with the Ethereum technology on a daily basis, who's been in the crypto space for a very long time, and also an ETH holder myself. So if you're new around here, hey, I'm Gregory, and on this channel, I turn you into a blockchain master. So if that's something you're interested in, then smash that like button down below and subscribe. And if you want to learn how to increase your income by becoming a blockchain developer, then I can show you how to do that step by step from start to finish over at dappuniversity.com/bootcamp. All right, so let's get into this. Let's talk about what's going on with Ethereum. So obviously nothing I'm saying in this video is designed to be financial advice. I'm not telling you to buy or sell any cryptocurrency based on this information. But let's start off with this. The really weird thing about crypto is that people look at price charts to tell them what is real about technology and how it's being adopted. They think when the price is good, that the technology is good, and then when the price is bad, that the technology is bad and that nobody's using it. So first of all, I have to get us out of the way and say that's absolutely crazy, like internet brain rot way of thinking. But unfortunately, crypto's been that way from day one. And what you have to understand in this space is that the price of an asset is not always correlated with the value, the fundamental value of the technology itself. And sometimes they're the exact opposite. And what we're seeing right now is some pretty record low sentiment for Ethereum, the technology itself, relative to its price that I'm going to unpack in this video. And I'll give you a little spoiler alert for the conclusion towards the end of this video that, we've seen sentiment like this around Ethereum just 1 year ago from today. Okay, where people were thinking the exact same thing. This is about in October of 2023, and you can look at what happened next. And if history is to repeat itself in any way, shape, or form, it'll be interesting to see what happens in the next coming months. More on that towards the end of the video. But let's first start off by talking about the fundamentals, and then we'll look at the Ethereum price itself. Okay, so first of all, in terms of fundamentals, there's a lot of metrics that are down for the Ethereum blockchain itself, not just the price. For example, the gas price on Ethereum is down to 3 Gwei. Okay, so if you're not really sure how that works, basically the gas price is an indication of network demand, and this is some of the lowest levels that I've seen in the last 5 years on the blockchain itself for any sustained period of time. So that does tell you that network demand for Ethereum itself is down, but that's not a complete picture, which I'll talk about here in a second. Now, the other metric to look at is the ETH supply and what it's doing. Okay, so ETH is an asset that gets burned whenever transactions are performed on the blockchain. Okay, and if enough transactions occur, that can cause ETH to go deflationary. Now, in recent periods, ETH has actually not had as many transactions on the Ethereum mainnet. And ETH, the asset itself, has actually become inflationary during this time, which is an indication of reduced demand over the time frame that we're looking at. Now, this does, look bad for Ethereum when you look at it at first glance, but it doesn't paint the whole picture. Okay, so first of all, the amount of ETH that's hit the market from this inflationary period is definitely nowhere near enough to explain the dip in ETH's price over the last several months. That's more of a demand side of things and a supply side of things. The other thing is that if we have a quick surge in demand, that can easily erase all of the ETH that's been issued during the market during this inflationary period. And this, number 120 million, 350,000, whatever, is about the same level, give or take, of the max ETH supply that was at its peak. So about 120 million ETH, we're still at about that number. So with that indication of demand and also the gas price, you have to look at those relative to the amount of transactions that are actually happening on the Ethereum main chain. So if you look at Ethereum daily transactions, it's basically flat over the last year. Of course, we saw a big uptick at the beginning of 2024 that correlates with the price increase, and a small downtrend after that correlates with the price decrease, but the chain utilization is basically flat. So what you have to see from that is that the usage of Ethereum is not really declining in any significant way when you look at actual transactions per day. It's still being used a lot. And the other thing that you have to understand is that a lot of the activity that's on the Ethereum main chain is moving to Ethereum layer 2s. So what is that? We have to understand the long-term scaling strategy for Ethereum is to create what's called a layer 2 scaling solution, where you don't do all of the transactions on the main chain itself. Use a second environment called layer 2, which kind of works like a blockchain. It basically works like a blockchain, but it's not a blockchain. It piggybacks on top of Ethereum, and you pay the gas fees in ETH, and then those transactions are settled back on the main chain. So if you see other networks like Base, this is becoming the most popular, or one of the most popular Ethereum layer 2s, especially in terms of, the rate of growth. Things like Arbitrum, Optimism, etc., etc. These are really popular solutions. Now, what this does is it takes all those transactions and puts them on those chains, and that's why that's a one big reason why you see a lot of this trend flattening out over time. Of course, activity moving to other cheaper chains for things like Solana, for meme coin gambling, stuff like that. But there's still quite a bit of activity happening on Ethereum. It's just that a lot of it has moved to layer 2s, which is also part of the explanation for why you see things like the gas price and the Ethereum mainnet going down. Now, another thing you have to understand about Ethereum layer 2 is that they are actually growing in some metrics, okay? So if you look at this chart, it looks like a downtrend, just like you see the other things, but what this is a total value lock. It's the amount of cryptocurrency actually, on these platforms, but this is denominated in US dollar terms, okay? And the cryptocurrency market, has been a miniature bear market really for the past 6 months or so. But if you actually switch this to ETH terms, which is the amount of ETH locked into the layer 2s, then the trend is up and to the right, okay? It's seeing, month over month growth through this same period. This is the last year. So by that metric, we're actually seeing more adoption of Ethereum just on these layer 2s and not actually back on the Ethereum main chain itself, but that's okay. That's the whole design for the Ethereum roadmap long term. And really, a lot of people looking at this from a very small snapshot in time, okay? We're talking about many, many years down the road with blockchain technology being ready for prime time to support things like scaling, where we can onboard huge commercial use cases for blockchain. That's what these layer 2s are designed to do. We're kind of in this middle ground of adoption where we're getting all this stuff to work. And what you want to see during this time is this type of slow, steady adoption to get all this tech ready for prime time so that we can scale for the real deal. And so from those perspectives, in terms of the fundamentals, ETH is not dead, okay? It's got plenty of utility. It's got plenty of actual usage on a day-to-day basis, as we've seen by transactions per day. And also the growth of layer 2s over time, despite some of the metrics being down, like the gas price, the amount of ETH being burned, and also, the ETH price, which is what a lot of people want to hear about. All right, so now let's look at the Ethereum price itself and talk about that. Because if you're just looking at the charts, you're not actually looking at the technology, you're sitting here going like, man, this thing looks dead. The price keeps going down. If you look at the ETH to BTC ratio, it's like the worst it's been in many, many years. The sentiment in terms of price is in the absolute gutter, despite what's happening with the fundamentals. So what do I think about that? So obviously, this is not financial advice. I'm not telling you to buy or sell any cryptocurrency based on this information. But there's a funny thing that tends to happen with crypto projects like this in times like these, okay? Everybody starts thinking the same way, and then something in a relatively short amount of time happens that defies what everyone else is thinking. Markets tend to have a way of punishing the majority, and then when the majority starts thinking that a crypto like this is dead, especially one that has strong fundamentals like I'm talking about, then they're generally proven wrong. And so like I said earlier in this video, we've got a really strange coincidence that I just noticed recently, which is basically this happened a year ago, a lot like what we're seeing right now, where if you look back in, let's say October of 2023, the price of Ethereum was about what it was in January. Okay, so basically in January 2023, the price pumped up pretty quickly with a few candles. All right, we saw a little miniature, increase in the ETH price. It nearly doubled. Okay, and then we kind of went into this, bear market that lasted for about 6 months. Took us back to that January price increase, and then right after that, things took off pretty quickly. Now, the crazy thing is, if you look back in January of this year, a similar type of thing happened. All right, ETH price went up. It almost doubled, and then things kind of went into a subsequent downtrend for about 6 months and brought us back to the January price increase. Now, I'm not saying that history is going to repeat itself perfectly, but if we see any type of fundamental shift in the crypto market, then we could see a very similar thing play out sooner rather than later. And I'll tell you this right now, earlier I basically said that fundamentals and price are not always coordinated in crypto. Crypto, we have narratives. Many people think that, the price follows narratives in crypto, but in many cases, it's the other way around. The price just starts moving and people make up a story for why that's the case and they latch onto those stories. So what I'm saying now is that one candle can erase people's conception that the Ethereum ecosystem and that ETH is dead. We saw it back here in January 2023 when the worst of the crypto bear market was well in the rearview mirror. People thought it was dead. People thought it was over. We saw one candle that kind of changed everything. Of course, things cooled off. Same thing happened in October. People were calling this stuff dead. Boom, it took off. And we could wake up one day, check out our phones, see that we've seen a massive candle happen in a single day. And then we're back off to the races and people start FOMOing back into the market. So when is that going to happen? Well, unfortunately, I don't have a crystal ball to say when that's going to be the case. You can check out the video I did recently in my channel talking about my thoughts for the crypto market for the last part of 2024 going into 2025. You'll see more of my thoughts about ETH inside of there. But the whole point I'm trying to make in this video is that, ETH is not dead despite what the price looks like. The fundamentals are very strong. Price and fundamentals are not always correlated in crypto. Right now is a pretty good evidence of that. And that unfortunately, what's going to happen is the price is going to have to just start trending in a positive direction, which will probably be correlated with the rest of the crypto market also going forward. And as soon as that happens, ETH is no longer dead in people's eyes. They unfortunately pay attention to what's happened to the price to validate the legitimacy of the technology, and things get better from there. And the cycle repeats and goes on until the cycle doesn't exist anymore. But overall, I'm optimistic about this. I've doubled down on my commitment to this technology. Nothing has changed in my views on this channel, really. But let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Am I wrong? Is ETH totally dead? Is it never coming back? Or are you excited about Ethereum and the future of this technology and the entire blockchain space, just like I am? I want to hear from you. And if you're finished, leave me your comment. Make sure you smash that like button down below and subscribe. And if you want to learn how to make the most of this huge opportunity in blockchain, the absolute best way is to increase your income by becoming a blockchain developer. And I can show you how to do that step by step to start to finish over at dappuniversity.com/bootcamp. You really don't have to be an expert to get started today. I've helped people with zero coding experience become real world blockchain developers in a matter of months. So that's all I've got. Until next time, thanks for watching Dapp University.